RASKWAME with a reggae recipe.
RASKWAME with the reggae recipe on Capital Extra right now, and it's all about my special guest in the building. As promised, it's all about the mighty Alicia Tameka Gray, a.k.a. Lila Ike to the world. How exciting. Wagwan, Lila, you all right?
Blessings. So nice seeing you again, man.
Yeah, man, naturally. Last time you were in the building, you were with Protoje, right?
Yeah, with Proto.
And I think you came on the mic and said something very brief.
Yeah. At that time, I didn't even release my first single yet.
Yeah, you were proper new to the thing. I was like, wow, who's this young lady? She looks like she have a vibe, though. But can I begin by saying massive congratulations on an amazing headline show? And when I say amazing, I do mean amazing, because I've never seen it before like that. City Splash, you turn up the place. It looks and sounded heavy to me, but how was the vibe for you?
It was great. You know, this was my first real show since the pandemic hit. So being back on stage, hearing live music, and just especially the energy I was getting from the people, it was great. I remember just seeing kids at the front like screaming, and I'm like, wow, this is really great. I had a lot of fun. Thank you.
It was a beautiful feeling. And the wave, though. Let me show them the wave. That part, yeah.
Man.
All day long.
Lit.
It was totally lit. So I know you've already been on the road strong, like doing your own shows through Europe, Rotterdam, Spain, one of the biggest ones, Sunfest JA, Celebrate Brooklyn, and also along with Diggy on the road as well, Dubai, Middle East, amazing. But was that your first headline show, like you personally? Wow.
Very, very first headline show. Very first.
Very first.
I was shocked when I saw that I was a headline artist. I'm like, wow, this thing is really growing, you know?
That's where your thing reach, higher levels. So is that a bigger buzz than the actual writing and making songs in the studio?
Yeah, man. It's a different energy, you know? Making music, it's exciting because you never really and truly know how a song is going to end up sounding. Because a lot of songs, like the end product doesn't sound the same as how, it might have started, how the rhythm even start. So it's always exciting to see what the final thing sounds like. But nothing really compares to presenting that piece of music to people. It's always crazy. Yeah.
Proper high energy.
Yeah.
So it's like your first formal interview on Capital Extra from Right. So we'd love some answers to some kind of like basic questions that you probably answered a million times and all these things. Like how this journey actually begins for you. Let's talk about where and how you came up and how you came to be in the business, please. What was it like growing up in Manchester, Jamaica?
It was very chill. I grew up in the country, not a lot happens there. I started really getting into music when I went to high school. But growing up in a household where my mom always listened to reggae music, soul's music, the typical West Indian parent household. So I'm listening to Buju and Sizzla and Lauryn Hill and Whitney Houston and Celine Dion. My mom would always ask me to sing along to the records with her, and I'd do it. Sometimes I'd be annoyed because she want me to sound exactly like, Celine Dion. But after growing older and being in high school and, watching a couple of the guys doing freestyle cypher, I was like, this is pretty cool. And I tried to be a part of it and until I started writing poems, and then I started singing the poems that I wrote. And it wasn't until I was graduating from high school and I just idly wrote a song that I wanted to be the graduation song. I wasn't expecting the entire graduation year to be into it, but everybody was like, yo, we want to sing this song. And, performing that in front of the parents and hearing my schoolmates sing along and, the principal and everybody just being blown away. It was at that point I was like, wow, this could actually be a real thing. Moved from Christiana, which is in the country, moved to Kingston. That's where all the live music scene was, that's where you might book up Protoje or Chronics at a concert. And I started going to a lot of jam sessions, karaoke, wherever it is I could find vibes. And I really and truly began to appreciate live music then, because I've never been to a concert since.
Okay.
And I just remember being just obsessed with instruments and hearing the bass and the drum, and every other Saturday I'd be at Jamnesia, which is...
So hold on one second. So do you think your mom actually saw this in you from early? Wow.
I feel so. I don't even think she recognized really what she was doing, because she's just a music fanatic. She loves music. She herself is always singing.
Okay.
But I think she really and truly low-key trained me to be the singer that I am.
And you've
No.
actually developed your actual singing skill from just by singing along to other people's
Yeah,
records.
for sure, because I couldn't be a part of a choir or anything. She wouldn't have allowed me to be on the school choir or church choir because she just believes in go to school, when the lessons are over, get home. When church is done, get home. So I had no extracurricular activities.
Traditional style.
Yeah.
So you talked about winning the Best Talent Award in a school pageant.
Yeah, that was when I went to university. Well, high school I did Miss Manchester High, which is the name of the high school that I went to.
Right.
And my piece was like a whole DJ set that I did myself where I'm doing the effects, I'm singing the songs.
Oh, no, you mean DJ set? What, you mean DJ as in
Yeah,
turntables?
like what you do.
Oh, really?
Yes, I was like, I kind of was the characters where I'd be the disc jockey, you know, but no music was playing, so I had to sing all the records myself.
Wow.
You know, and then I would introduce an artist, which was also myself, and then that artist would DJs would like rap something, and it blew up. Like the entire school was blown away.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You kind of like need to add that to your show, you know. 'Cause I want to see that. Like you had the DJ, you had the
I might
selector, but
just-
no selector, and you are sing all the song them.
Yeah, that
Wow.
could be a thing.
That's
So,
brilliant.
It was all those stuff, and that was just me naturally just doing what I do, you know.
Right.
Even before the competition, like my classmates would often ask me to, DJ this song for us, sing this song for us. So it's kind of something that became my lifestyle from early.
Okay, so out of the handful of artists that you mentioned, which one of those inspired you to like greatness that you are now?
I didn't mention Garnet Silk, but Garnet Silk to this day, I'd say is one of the artists that really inspire just how much effort I put into ensuring that the music is, you know, highly spiritual. Like the words, sound, everything that I'm saying, how I'm singing it, it's delivered in a way that can, when I go to a show, it can give somebody goosebumps, you know? And Lauryn Hill. Those are my two favorite artists.
Okay, Garnet Silk and Lauryn Hill to the world. That's a great combination. I'd love to have heard a song between those two.
Yeah.
So what other styles of music did you grow up listening to? Did you listen to any country and western or anything like that?
Yeah, man. My mom would play all sorts of music because she didn't really like TV, so television wasn't a thing in my house. So with country music, what I loved about it was they always telling stories, you know?
Yeah.
So I could just envision everything happening, and I'd be listening to the song and be like, yo, so, you know, what next
Serious?
happened? Like, did this girl really did this to you, you know? And
Do you know one song called Lucille by Kenny Rogers?
how does it go?
You picked a fine time to leave me, Lucille. 400 kids and a
I
crop
might have,
in the
because my
field.
mom loved Kenny Rogers.
Wow, you must have heard that one. That's one of my favorite country because, like you say, the stories, man.
Yeah,
the stories
man.
are like, wow, what happened next? So forward then to university, Northern Caribbean University in Mandeville. That's something that you had to leave from. Why was that?
Well, for the main reason was because my mom couldn't afford it anymore, and she didn't want to do the whole student loan situation. So I was like, you know what? I sat out a year because she said, you know, sit out a year and I'll work on, you know, the tuition, and you can go back the next year. And I just remember being at home all the time and just feeling like, I can't just be sitting at home. Like I'm, you know, almost 19 at the time. I was like, I can't just be sitting at home like this. And that's when I started to send job applications out, and I got a job in Kingston.
Right.
You know, and when I got the job, I was like, instead of, you know, pressuring my mom to come together with the tuition and stuff, I'll just go to work. I'll find a job and finish my studies.
So what were you studying before you left?
I was actually studying to be a teacher, you know,
Okay.
a secondary teacher, so high school. And the courses I was focusing on were business and literacy.
Right.
So I was studying to be a teacher.
You'd have made a great teacher, I reckon.
I think so.
Madame Lila. Well, you wouldn't have been called Lila them time. You'd have been called Alicia, innit? Them
It's
ones.
great, you know?
So how big of a factor would you say the formal education that you have had, how much has that played in shaping you to become Lila Ike?
It definitely, I mean, in making music and being able to gather your thoughts and put them together, it's literally like writing, putting down a piece, like a debate or something. So it takes a lot of focus, and you know, you really and truly have to be an intelligent person in order to bring across a particular message, even if you're not using like the most esoteric type of language. It's very important to understand even how people think. Because when I was studying to be a teacher, I had to do a lot of psychology-based courses. So it kind of gives me an insight. And I was studying for children. So
Right.
it even give me insight into how to connect with young people. So I know when making a song, the most important thing to me is not to necessarily rhyme all the syllables in a bar, but it's to really, when I make this song, when I put this piece, this body of music out, this piece of music out, all of my thoughts are collected in a way where when I finish the song, people understand like the point, like there's a thesis, there are supporting points and everything in the song.
That's the formula.
Yeah.
Get the formula right now for the recipe. So then you go on to get a job at a call center
Yeah.
in Kingston. Apparently you didn't even know what a call center was them time.
I didn't. I'm there sending out the application, and I hear that you were accepted.
So how did you
this-
get the job then?
I was just sending out random applications, and the name of the call center at the time was Sutherland Global.
Right.
So it just sounds like a big corporation where I'd have my own, my own office and my desk, But like when I went in for the interview, and I'm like, hold on. This is what it is, because
Some
I'm from the
choppies are going
country,
around
and
here, so.
I'm a country girl. Like I don't know nothing about no call center or whatever. So I realized that there isn't an office. There's actually a cubicle, and I'm gonna have to sit in that small space for like 8 hours, sometimes longer, every day, and just talk.
Right. So what kind of call center was it?
My account that I was on, because it has different accounts, so there'd be an Amazon or whatever. So I was on StubHub, where they sell tickets for like major shows. So
Okay.
people would be calling in, hey, I'm at the Beyonce show and I can't get in. So it was
right.
kind of trippy for me, because I'm like, hold on, you're actually at a Beyonce show right now. That's
Mad.
crazy. But
So it was
yeah.
like a helpline kind of thing.
Yeah, so people would come like very frustrated, very upset.
Really?
You
All
know.
right, let's do a little role play then. So me, I the upset guy. I reach Beyonce. Nothing now go on for me. Prr, 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 prr.
Hello, thank you so much for calling StubHub. You're speaking with Lila. How can I assist you today?
Listen, me pay my money. Me reach the dance. Make you see Beyonce. What go on for that?
Okay, I'm very, very sorry to hear that. No problem, I'll go ahead and help you. So, what exactly is the issue you're having today?
Well, right now me can't get in.
Okay, did you actually purchase the ticket?
Yes, me purchase me ticket. Me have my ticket right now. Why you try to question me like something? You try fraud me way in. What go on for that?
I mean, if you have your tickets and you had purchased the tickets, why is it that you're not getting in? Obviously, I couldn't do this. I'd lose my job. But I'm just listening around. But that's kind of what I wanted to say a lot of the times. Like,
Really?
I have my tickets, I can't get in. What's going on? I'm like, okay, you have your tickets, you can't get in. Like, is it, it was just
Them
a
ones
lot.
there. That sounds like a pretty cool job to have still, but you describe working at that call center as the most depressing time of your life. Why?
It was, because imagine, like, people are coming to you in these spaces with the most aggravated, negative energy, like, and, there was also a lot of, like, racist comments too. Like, somebody
Really?
would call me and they'd be like, hello, and you'd answer, because they'd train you to speak in an American accent, right? Because this is Jamaica as we're dealing with here.
Right.
And, the person would probably pick up on your accent and they'd be like, are you black? And you'd be like, yes. And they'd be like, okay, I don't want to speak to you.
Really?
So, yeah, man, the real thing. You can't ask anybody that works at a call center in Jamaica. If it's an outsourced call center from an American-based company or something, you go through that all the time.
Wow.
And then you have some people where like they won't take anything for an answer. There are literally people who I feel would just call to be upset, and they'd keep you on the phone. And it's like you have to just entertain them. So if my shift ends at 8 and somebody calls me at 7:59 and wants to speak for 3 hours, I can't move.
Oh my goodness.
So it's that, and then you're in this closed space. There's no windows. You're locked up in a building, like just stuck in AC for the whole day. And my shift was from like 11 to 11. So I'm not seeing the sun set or rise because by the time I'm up, I have to just get ready, rush to go
Right.
to work. And by the time I'm leaving, it's like sometimes 1, 2. When I get home, I have no time to properly make dinner or anything. It's too late. I'm just having some pot noodles. And, it just takes a toll on you, on me physically. And then on top of that, I'm also still trying to push off my career. And I was also going to school. So it was a lot.
Wow. More
Yeah.
power to you. That makes perfect sense as to why that might be so
Yeah,
pressing.
man.
But happier times were on the way.
For sure.
So you're talking about performing at open mic sessions and stuff.
Yeah.
I've spoken to the likes of John Nine and Chronix and Kabaka in the past, and they always reference Jamnesia. What is Jamnesia? Tell us, please.
For me, I'd say that's like the mecca of becoming a really solid reggae artist in Jamaica, because what it does is it creates this space, or it gives young artists, amateurs, the space to be around top-class musicians, like the
Right.
musicians that are playing there. You're talking about Billy Mystic's sons, Ainilek, who plays guitar and bass, his other son, Ike, who plays bass, his other son, who plays keys, and it's like sometimes other musicians would come and just play. So it's like, and then you have people sitting in the crowd. Sometimes you might have 15 people, sometimes 20, sometimes 5, sometimes 2. But
Okay.
this is all happening on the beach, in their yard, and it's just a spiritual experience. And the first time I went there, I actually went to see Janine live. I had no idea who she was at the time. Somebody just said, yo, I'm going to Janine concert. I actually thought, I didn't really know anything about her. I thought it was a Rasta man who named Janine or something. But I went out there and I just remember like watching her perform, and she's incorporating yoga and breathing exercises. And I'm like, wow. Her music definitely changed my life. And, she finished perform, everybody left, and then I heard, we have an open mic, and I'm like, hold on, I can just go on the stage with the same musicians. And I went on and I was freestyling, and the place just started packing up back.
Really?
And she came back inside and she sat at the front, and we went on for another hour just singing. And I remember after she came to me and she just started talking to me, she's like, wow, your talent is amazing. Like, do you have music out? What's your plans? And, she spoke to me about yoga and books I could read. And she actually encouraged me to come to Jamnesia every time and just practice, because that's what she did.
Wow. Big up my sister Janai.
Yeah, man,
Everyone
teach her
speaks
that.
really highly of her.
Yeah, man.
And like you say, like a bit of a teacher kind
Yeah,
of thing.
man, for sure. She's like a serious mentor for me.
Mad
Yeah.
move. So the name Lila Ike from Alicia Tamika. How we reach Lila Ike now?
Yeah, so, as you said, my real name is Alicia, but sometimes throughout high school, people shorten it. And so I remember people calling me Lily or Alicia. And I don't remember who called me Lila one day, and I kind of liked it.
Right.
And so at the time, I was just about to join Facebook. So I put up my name as Lila. So for the rest of high school into university, everybody called me Lila because they thought that was my real name. When I moved to Kingston, though, I met this young man whose name is Ike Chukwu, because he's Nigerian. And I just remember laughing at him when he told me what his name was. I'm like, because he was living on dorm. So I was like, bro, how did they give you a name like that? Like,
Ike Chukwu.
And he explained to me that, his name is actually from a tribe in Nigeria, and it means God is powerful. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. I'm going to use your name as an artist name. So for a while, I was going with Ike Chukwu, and then people
really?
started calling me all sorts of stuff. And I was like, all right, I need to shorten this. So I just got Lila Ike.
Right. So it's a blooming flower for the Lila
Yeah.
and a powerful God for the Ike.
Yeah, man.
Great combination still.
For
That
sure.
can work. So one of my favorite tunes of yours, Second Chance. What a
Yeah.
big tune.
It
I beg
is.
you, sing me a little a cappella, please, Lila.
Second, we fall in love like we did before. Can I show you how much I adore you, babe? Go and make we fall in love. Know you love the style, especially the overdub. Yes. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Lila Ike in the building right now.
Thank
She
you.
can just drop it like that, people. You know what? Anyhow, wifey did accidentally violate and she can't sing that song, it can't work. You know?
Yeah.
You get that pass and say, you know
I
what?
get that
So
pass.
good. But you're a strong woman, though. We done see the pre. So I
Yeah.
don't feel like you're going to be handing out no second chances to the people, them like that.
I mean, I do believe in second chances, but It isn't issued so easily, you know. It has to be worth it for sure.
Right. I read an interesting story about how that song came about. Tell us how that song came together, Second Chance.
Yeah, so that song is, you know, I met somebody while I was in university. He's always telling me, yo, because I'm always like, when I moved to Kingston, I started trying to learn the guitar and everything. So everywhere I went, I had the guitar with me, and I'd always be sitting down and playing. And a friend of mine, he said to me, yo, you know, my uncle has a studio, and I really think you'd love his vibe because he's a reggae man. And I'm like, you know, at that time, a lot of people were just, as soon as they hear me sing, they wanted to record and everything. And for me, it kind of felt very, I don't know, everybody just wanted to record, to put music out for whatever reason.
Right.
But I always wanted my thing to be well done, very special, with the right people. And I just took him up on the offer one Saturday, and I decided to go. And I went, and he introduced me to his uncle, who happened to have a sound system called, what's it called again? Can't remember, but Sprocket has a sound system. Very big guy in the industry and thing. Elder. Know all of the artists, them Buju, Sizzler, the whole of them are actual brethren growing up. And I remember he brought me there, introduced me to his uncle, and his uncle was like, so you say she's a singer? And I said, yeah. And he said, what kind of music you sing? I said, just good music. And he said, you know, may I work on a rhythm? I want to hear you on that rhythm. And he played the Second Chance rhythm. So the first rhythm the guy played was like a soca kind of dancehall thing.
Right.
And then somebody I brought was like, no, man, you know, old school studio one. And the man said, studio one, all right. And he played the rhythm that they were working on the day, which was the Second Chance rhythm.
Right, which is Aswad.
Which is Aswad, yeah, exactly. Right. And the first time I heard it, I just heard the bass line, doo, doo, doo. And I'm like, yo, and I'm like, I don't want to hear anything else, just let me get in the booth. And I remember the elders say, oh, them young people at work, so they don't write song and sit down and put things together. And I'm like, just let me go in at the booth. And I'm telling you, like, I went in there and I started singing. And I remember his back was turned before I started singing. And when I started singing the song, freestyling, never wrote anything, I remember he turned around and it was like a glass thing. So I saw him transform. He was like, oh my God, he was losing his mind.
Yeah.
To this day, every time he sees me, it's just goosebump him call me. It's like,
wow.
Ooh, that goosebump? Yeah, man. It was a beautiful thing, man. I was blown away too.
So where did the song forward from?
I feel like for me, to be honest, I don't really pen down lyrics as much. That's not my style of making music. I hear a rhythm, and if I'm moved by it, somehow the words just come, even if it's just the melodies, and after a while I'll figure it out. But most of the songs that I've worked on, it starts like that. It starts like that. So off the top, I was just like, my baby told me that he's leaving today. Which, you know, obviously I was going through my own personal liquor heartbreak them time there. So everything kind of just came into being because I like speak from a very honest point.
Right. That we have definitely noticed. So your musical style has been described by others as a fusion of contemporary reggae with elements of soul, hip-hop and dancehall. Like this fusion of vintage and contemporary kind of music. Out of interest, how would you describe your own music?
Yeah, I definitely say it's the same thing. It's everything that I've grown up listening to. You know, all the artists that have influenced my sound growing up, everything my mom was playing around the house, and everything that I'm currently hearing now. So lots of reggae and old school soul and country style of writing with the storytelling in the music, but also keeping it fresh with, you know, I listen to grime, I listen to dancehall and, you know, rap music now and then. So it's kind of merging all of those together and trying to, and just, you know, putting my own spin on it, my sound, my interpretation of it.
Right.
So that's really how I'd express it.
So do you rap as well? Can you DJ?
Yeah, you know, I had a rap. I went through all the phases. I had a rap song when I was in high school because I used to record myself actually and put stuff out on SoundCloud. I actually, just the other day, I had to like private everything because I'm like, bro, what was I on? You know, but yeah, I do rap.
Okay. Drop some bars, though, man.
I ain't perfect. I made mistakes time after time. But unlike you, I never kept blaming people for mine. Always ensure that you smiled. I was always there when you cried. People told me you weren't worth it, but I told them they lied. See, beneath all your darkness, I could sense all your beauty. I felt like I should pull it out. I felt like it was my duty, but in the process, it was obvious I became attached. Something. It's somewhere out there.
Yo, you could have blended into the rap thing same way if that you want to do.
You remember, like, Lauryn Hill was my god growing up, so I used to try and imitate her a lot.
Okay.
You know?
And then you went to that place. It's the call center, and they're like, yo, turn on the thing, no man. With the American accent.
Yeah.
So, Biggest Fan was your first song you wrote?
Yeah.
And what was the song?
Single.
What did you write before that?
I have this other song before that called $10 Shop or something. As a Mama Send Me Go Shop. That was the very, very first song I ever worked on and recorded. Say me never did know, say me woulda meet you the day, but Mama send me go shop. Mama did send me go shop. She said, Lila, you better hurry up and come back.
Wow. You have to drop that one there, you know. You can't
Yo,
steal the work.
I have some like elders because I used to par on a lot of just old Rasta man, and I'd always sing the songs to them before I started recording and stuff. And every time I see this elder, he's always saying, "Oh no, I'm gonna hear my song, you know. A $10 me I wait for here, although you can't release that one, you know." That was a story actually about my sister. She used to have this boyfriend because we weren't allowed to have boyfriends, you know. My mom would literally murder us. But she had a boyfriend she'd go and check for, and, you know, they're always like meeting up at this shop. So I wrote that song about it.
Okay. Sound like a great song. So, linking up with Protoje and becoming a part of Indignation, how did that come together?
Yeah, so it was due to going to Jamnesia and going all of these reggae spaces, you know, more and more people started speaking about me. And Protoje being the kind of man that always has his ear, you know, in the streets for young talent, he just reached out to a couple of the artists I was working with, hanging out with at the time, Black Hero, you know, Royal Blue and them. And he met up with them, and I was working at the time, so I wasn't there when he went there. And I remember then telling me, yo, Protoje came by the studio, he was listening to our stuff, and he heard something, one of the stuff you were working on, and he was blown away. And, you know, they were saying that he wanted to contact me, but I don't think I had a phone at the time. So he reached out to me on Twitter.
Okay.
And he was like, you know, heard something, I really think you have a lot of potential, let's connect. At first, I was like, there's no way this is Protoje. I had to go and check that the blue sticky was there and everything. And then after that, we kind of just linked up and went to his home studio at the time. He started playing some rhythms, and that's how I actually came up with Biggest Fan.
Wow.
I just freestyled it there.
Just like that. Did you meet the other ladies in the crew at the same time, like Savannah and Naomi Cohen and Jazz Elise?
No, I met them late. I met Savannah a bit later because she was already signed to Indie Collective at the time. So I met her at Protoje's album launch. Yeah. And then Naomi Cohen, I met her at Dubwise. I think it was 2018. There's a Dubwise in Jamaica. And then Jazzy, she actually came up to me at a show that I was at. Some Rebel Clash thing that was happening in Jamaica, and she was just like, yo, I love your music and everything. And she told me she sang too, and I invited her to my rehearsal, and I heard her sing, and I remember going home and calling Protoje. I was like, yo, saw this girl today, trust me, man, she's hardcore.
Wow, big up Protoje. We love what he's doing, like with the whole Indignation collective, and he's clearly a very good A&R. Knows how to get people together. So let's talk about your new music now, your debut long play release, the Experience EP. Yeah. I noticed that the X is kind of separate in a kind of way from the Perience. That's got some meaning to it?
What happened was that it's actually the E and the P are capital.
Yeah.
2 capital letters. So what had happened was that when we were trying to figure out what to call the project, I was like, yo, I just don't like the idea of it being called an EP, you know? So me and him were going back and forth because he's like, well, it's not an album, and an EP is just the name you classify it as. But for some reason, I always just think EPs are normally just a bunch of random music put together for people to say, hey, here's our project. So he just hit me up one day and he's like, I have a solution to your EP issue. He's like, what about if we call it The Experience and we make the E and the P capital for a play and EP? And I was like, that's genius, you know? So that's how we got that. And then because it was a whole heap of different styles, because I wanted to establish that I'm not just the one drop reggae kind of girl, you know. There's dancehall influence, there's pop, there's R&B and rap. So I kind of wanted to put all of that together, neo soul and everything. So that's how we came up with calling it The Experience. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, your experimentation with sounds and stuff. It's not just a strictly reggae vibes. You know, like on Forget Me and Solitude and all these songs. Does that embody the difference between a reggae artist and a Jamaican artist now?
Yeah, for sure. Because for me, I feel like a lot of people for me, there's just out of my love for reggae music and what I understand reggae music to be, there's a lot of music that's been classified as reggae, which in my understanding and my opinion, it's not really reggae music if we're gonna go about it theoretically. So I think it's best to really classify the music as reggae. And then with my generation of creatives, you know, Coffee and Black Hero and Jazzalise and all of us, we're so influenced with all the different sounds coming out all at once at the same time. It's like, what do you call this? Not because we're coming from Jamaica means that it's reggae. So for me, genreism isn't something that I obsess with. It's just like I make music and allow people to classify it in whatever they want to.
Okay. So whether it be the love of the Most High Jaja or romantic love, love seems to be a prominent theme to your music. How come so much love?
I guess like ever since I was really young, I've always had this hippie energy, you know. I really and truly do believe in the idea of word, sound, and power, you know, and just being responsible as it relates to what you put out there in the world that you really and truly won't be able to take back. Because even if I take down all my projects and all my music videos, somebody has already heard it, somebody's already singing it, some child is already repeating it. It's like it's gone and it's doing what it's supposed to do already. So I try to ensure that no matter what, even if I'm singing about a very sad situation or something that could, you know, make people feel as like low vibration energy, because that happens, I still try to maintain a certain level of positivity no matter what.
Okay.
So that's why for me, you know, love is important.
RASKWAME with a reggae recipe.